All right, exercise, more information. This is going to go a little bit more detailed. Sometimes with exercise paralysis by analysis works against us, so we just want to make sure. That's why I wanted to put this in the second week and just make sure you focus on strength training for the first week. But the rest of exercise, let's get into it. How much to train? This is a big one. Variation is going to be a good key here. As you can see, you've got 4 different categories of things. You've got high intensity, so sprint all-out sessions, strength and hypertrophy, lifting weights, moderate intensity. I just consider that CrossFit, like your typical CrossFit. And then low intensity stuff, 1 to 2 hours of that per week is a good idea. As you can see, examples there, walking, hiking, easy biking. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. A bit of work on recovery. There's a few different phases of recovery. Lots of information on this slide, but basically we want to think that the first 24 hours, the goal is not to decrease inflammation. The goal is to increase blood flow as much as possible. So things like walking, sauna, nice warm shower, massage, all those things are going to be fantastic for this. Ice baths and non-steroidal anti-inflammatories are a really bad idea if you want to try and recover from exercise properly. Day after that, you're going to get that I'm sore part of things going on. And that's when the body's ramping up to construct, or it's pulling out the damage. And then the following day after that, it is laying down the foundation for new cells, muscles, tendons, all that type of thing. So think about this. It takes a day to get sore, takes a day to clean it up, and it takes a day to build it back. So generally, this is why nutrition is important. That's why we focus on protein and water and sleep. So just quickly, before we go any further, I just want to say that more exercise is not necessarily better. As it says here, training creates the stimulus, recovery creates the adaptation. So we want to recover better, not train more. That's a good way to think about it. Now, if our training is 0, then obviously we want to train more, coming back to the how much, but we can always play around with it. Just with more training comes more recovery. Make sure you're drinking enough water, eating enough protein, fiber, getting enough sleep. Getting enough sleep. Sleep's going to be the big one. If your sleep habit, go back to the video, make sure your sleep is dialed. Any 1% you can put on your sleep, that's going to be even better. And then I just want to throw it out there that active recovery should be exactly that, recovery. Anything that gets you breathing too much is not active recovery. Mobility, flexibility stuff's good. Just walking around, go to the beach, look at something pretty, hang out with your family. Active recovery. Pretty much active recovery is anything that's not sitting on your couch. And even sitting on the couch is fine for recovery, but if you want to do active recovery, don't go for a long run. We want to perform as best we can inside the gym via our nutrition here. It's not always about losing weight. So I highly recommend eating before you train. Obviously, this doesn't work for anyone who trains like super early in the morning, but if that is the case, you want to eat the night before you train, since you're unconscious, you're not really doing much before when you get up and go to bed. Also went up and go to the gym. A meal somewhere around 2 to 3 hours, so it's digested, it's in your stomach, and you've got the fuel from it before training is generally appropriate. Go with that. If you're eating if you're training at the very end of the day, completely fasted, then I would advise against that. But we should jump to post-training real quick. The anabolic window is legit. Bodybuilders have known this forever. So getting a post-workout protein bolus is always a good thing, in my opinion. Can help recover you, get that recovery stimulus happening faster. And also, if you want to throw a little bit of carbs in there, as a bit of fruit or something like that, fantastic. Replace the glycogen, especially on those strength or high intensity days. Good idea to do that. Banana and protein shake, let it rip straight after training. Generally, women have a slightly tighter window here with like 30 minutes is ideal, whereas men can push anywhere up to 4 hours, weirdly enough. Now, training during fueling, here's a fun one. This will tie back into our hunger signaling. As you can see here, aim between 60 and 100 grams of carbohydrates per hour of hard training. Now, this comes back to, let's say I'm doing something. Let's say I'm like, hey, I want to do more training. I'm going to do an entire high rocks. That is 90 minutes of training. You will react a ton of carbohydrates just due to how intense that is and the glycolytic pathways. And then if you don't eat after that, you will be hungry 100%. If you haven't experienced this, it depends, slightly different depending on the person, but do a huge workout and then try and not be hungry later. There's no chance. If you are going to do those things, make sure you refuel appropriately, either during or straight after. to avoid the hunger demons attacking you later in the day. Now, so myths and misconceptions, kind of like I said before, if you think faster training makes you better to do anything, it's purely just a scheduling thing. If you like it better, good, but don't think it makes any greater effect on anything else. If anything, it potentially could lower intensity, but depending on the person. Obviously, don't drink too much water. You could get hyponatremia, so you get low sodium. Just general water guidelines, go back to the hydration one. Nothing crazy. You don't think you need to drink too much. And then the post-workout window that I just mentioned a second ago, while is ideal, it is irrelevant if you haven't got everything else sorted. So that's more of like an icing on the cake thing. Get your total protein in will be more beneficial than trying to get just 30 grams in, and that's all your protein you eat during the day after a workout. So ideal, but not required. A low on the totem pole of things to do. What are we going to do for this week? The goal this week for you is one of two things. Is either establish your baseline. Now, very conveniently or by design, the gym is about to enter a testing phase. So I wouldn't stress too much about if you're unaware of where your positions are, then don't stress. The gym's got you covered. We're just moving into test week, a little bit this week and next week as well. So if you're training at CrossFit Barn, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're not, I recommend getting a few test metrics. And if you are keen to do that, feel free to ask me and I can send you my metrics that I use for the gym and we can figure out where you're at and then we can get a training program dialed in. Now, if you want a little bit extra, and this might be a little fun one just for the week, the goal is to implement 20 seconds of all out efforts, whether that be burpees, star jumps, air squats, just something real simple, very safe. And you want to try and do it 3 times a day. That's going to be the goal. So let's say I wake up in the morning, I got to get Lumba. Just before I have to have a shower, just do 20 seconds of air squats as fast as I possibly can. Boom, and then be done. That's it. That's all you have to do. No warm up, anything. Just do that a few times in the day. Run up some stairs, that kind of thing. We'll just see if we can play around with it. You might look a little silly, but that's totally fine. If we can do that, what that'll do is it'll kind of keep telling the body that you need all this muscle, and it'll either grow some or hold on to it depending on what our calories are doing. So fun little one for the week, nothing crazy. I expect to see some cool little videos, post them on Instagram. Now, coming back to the best metrics to track, again, I can send you exactly what you want to track if you want. Exactly what we track. I put the little quote here: if I'm not part of the world's best gym and not outsourcing my fitness program to the world's best coach, what do I need to do? So I'd pick 4 things ideally. Pick a strength lift you enjoy. Pick a relative weight movement you can do, such as pull up or push up. Do a VO2 max test, like the Cooper test or a 2-kilometer row, and test some sort of jumping ability as well. Those 4 things cover quite a few. There are lots more, but you hit those 4, generally you can get a good guideline for any program because they should increase those things. Finally, as I've kind of alluded to myself, I froth exercise. So I could talk all day about this stuff. So please talk to me if you need any help at all. Come to the gym, ask me for help. Remember, there is no such thing as a bad workout. The only bad workout is the one you don't do. And then just lastly, on any injuries, I've injured myself so many times. There is always 100% a workaround. So again, if you don't know, I'm here for you. Please ask. Cool. Let me know how you go with the exercise snacks and we'll see you then.